I developed this study abroad course in Nepal because I wanted to give students experience outside the classroom. I think the diverse culture and breathtaking landscape that Nepal provides is an excellent setting for students to learn how to interact with other cultures and develop interpersonal skills. I wanted the students to have some adventure outside the classroom and develop memories, critical thinking skills that they can utilize for the rest of their professional career and cherish throughout their lives.
My first impression flying into Nepal, I thought it was beautiful. From the plane, you could see the Himalayas and all the hills and the valleys. So I was super excited to get into the mountains and the nature part of the trip. When we landed in Kathmandu, the capital, it was definitely more chaotic and busy than I expected. They have different norms and rules with like the traffic and people crossing the street in front of cars and just very busy streets in general. And then I've never been to Asia or a developing country before, so it was just interesting to see different like architecture, social norms, and just kind of what people were up to. I thought the culture was very rich and very exciting. Yeah, and then on the environmental side of things, we got to do a lot of cool lectures with conservation projects and learn about how the country is working to save certain like wildlife and plants. And yeah, that was really exciting.
I think one of my main highlights from the trip would be Pokhara. The views were beautiful, the streets were clean, and I really liked the city all together. And we actually got an opportunity to paraglide in Pokhara, which was really great. We went from the top of a mountain and kind of paraglided over the city, and it got some great views, and it was a really cool experience. Another great highlight of mine was Poon Hill, doing the trekking, especially the second and third day when it was a little bit rainy. You'd think that was bad, but it was beautiful scenery, and the rain was very nice, like cooling, and just a really great experience with awesome views of the mountains of Annapurna South and great morning sunrise views.
I think my favorite cultural experience here in Nepal is when we went on our 4-day trek, visiting all of the mountain villages like Tadapani and Gondruk and things like that. It was pretty amazing to see how people live and how they use the environment to their advantage and things like that. And I think that also ties in with interacting with people. I think interacting with people here has been amazing. Obviously, it's nice because most of them do know English and you can get your way around with that. But I think one thing I've realized is everyone here is very content with how they live their life. In the United States, you can get pretty caught up with being busy and things like that. But here, everything I feel like is a lot more chill. It's a lot more relaxed, and people are just very happy and content with how they live their lives.
So far, my favorite activity has been going to wildlife conservation centers and getting lectures. I really like learning about what they're doing to conserve the wildlife and biodiversity here. It's really interesting to hear about the intersection between, protecting these animals, but also preserving a human society and what we do. Specifically, my favorite part about seeing wildlife has been the canoeing trip. That was a little scary at first, but all of us in that one tiny canoe coming face to face with a huge rhino, that's something I don't think we'll ever forget.
My biggest self-growth opportunity was definitely our 4-day trek. Trekking is the type of fun where in the moment you want it to end, but once you realize how far you've come, you feel like a sense of accomplishment. Given that, it was definitely a very significant mental and physical challenge, but it was definitely worth it. As far as some lessons that I've learned while being here, I've learned a lot about hospitality, especially in the mountains. All of the hospitality of the tea houses and their willingness to serve you and make you the most comfortable you can. Our trek guide here at Didi, her character was reflected based off of how well she wanted us to make us happy. She went out of her way and she went the extra mile, and that reflected well in her character.
So by far the most challenging aspect of this trip for me was the trek. I expected it to be taxing physically, but I didn't expect it to take such a mental toll. But I'm lucky enough that all of the students, our professor, and the guides were really supportive, and they all helped me get through it. And I learned that you can do more than you think you can, and you're strong. and the people around you care about you and want you to succeed.
I would say the biggest thing I've learned about Nepal, both like culturally and about its history, is how good the Nepalese people are about adapting to new changes and to like modern ways of life, while also kind of embracing and maintaining their traditional ways of life. Especially when we were trekking in the mountains, we saw people who were, they had baskets, they woven baskets on their back and sickles in their hand, and they were harvesting these crops in the traditional Nepalese way. But then they were also wearing Jordans on their feet, and they had Nike tracksuits.
For me, traveling with a group of people is definitely a better experience than traveling solo. This is my first time leaving the country, so I definitely felt more comfortable being with some of my peers than being by myself. In addition, there was only 9 of us, including myself, so it was really nice to have a smaller group of people so I could kind of get to know each of them on a better level. But I think one of the things that I enjoyed the most was having dinners together every night. It kind of just gave us a chance to debrief from the day. I guess one specific time could have been after our longest day on the trek. We'd been going for 6 hours, it was raining, we were cold, we wanted to be done. And I just remember getting into our tea house and we were able to have some really nice tea and some soup, and it was just nice to be in the presence of people who had experienced the same things as me that day.
So for this experience, my first piece of advice would be to do your research. As much as you can learn, as much as you can possibly learn about Nepal, culture, norms, about what you might need, the better. Because especially remember the basics.